right, RJ, we are here to celebrate another Kraken win, a shutout for Martin Jones. Shane Wright breaking 10 minutes of total ice time. This is going to be a fantastic ECH post-game live presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. I just can't wait to get into this one, but that was just start to finish total dominant performance by the Kraken.
It really was. And it felt like everything was coming together for the Kraken tonight in so many different ways. The start to the game where they don't allow even a shot attempt for almost the first 10 minutes. And then, the first period, the way it finished, low event, but in the second period, starting to put their foot on the gas, build some more offense. And at no point ever really feeling, very threatened. That first shift to the second period was a little scary with Dunn and Larson each having a 3-minute shift to start the period, but they escaped it. Martin Jones stood strong. They kept them to the outside. Dunn and Larson dug really deep on that one, and they got through it, and it just felt like a complete effort. And then, of course, Shane Wright getting over 13 minutes, almost 14 minutes of ice time in this one. Such a relief to see that. It just, everything was going right.
Yeah, it really was. Pun intended.
I actually no, but that would have been good.
It's good anyway. Yeah, I mean, the Kraken just stuck to their guns. Like Minnesota just kind of felt flat the whole time, just because. But the Kraken really stuck to their game plan. They stuck to working hard. Kind of consistent from them all season long, right? They go in hard and heavy on that forecheck, and they just try to make stuff happen. And that's exactly what happens, right? You get the Morgan Geeky goal, which is off of a deflect, Geeky deflecting a shot from Sprong. You get Jamie Alexiak, who's net front there, being aggressive, cleaning things up. You've got the Wenberg goal off his back, and then you get later the Wenberg deflection off of the point shot from Will Borgen. And those are all just like, that's what goal scorers have to do, right? You have to go to the net. You got to be net front. You've got to be in position to get those kinds of goals. Like those aren't just like, wow, we made some flashy play and look at this goal we scored. That was just them outworking the Wild all night long. And it's good to see.
An honest effort, and they were rewarded for it. I mean, I tweeted at the end of the second period. It feels like the Kraken are winning every loose puck battle. They're skating hard and they're getting to those pucks first, and that effort was being rewarded.
Yeah, so let's get to all the big celebration, all the dance party comments we've got here. Jules, let's go Kraken. Nathan, what a game, 3 in a row. I know we're putting cushion in this whole being above 500 thing.
It's not even nice. April yet.
I know.
Are they allowed to do that?
What's happening? Coop, yeehaw, let's go, boys and girls. Medeiros, we getting donuts, baby. I know that's one of the best things, right? Because we see, right, Martin Jones's last game was that game against Pittsburgh where he played like lights out, right? Yep. And he comes back again tonight. And yes, the Wild weren't necessarily the most dangerous team tonight, but still you get the shutout, and it still takes a lot to get an NHL shutout regardless of who you're playing.
Definitely. And if he easily could have had one against the Penguins too. I mean, given how everything shook out. He's just been playing lights out, and the Kraken have been playing well in front of him, making things manageable for him. It feels like the communication there is working really well, and they've got that rapport with the defense and giving him everything he needs to succeed.
Yeah, exactly. Kraken Hawk, how sweet it is. You can tell the boys are starting to feel it. They're relentlessly scoring, and they're playing good defense when they have the lead. Now it's starting to get fun. I know it's getting really fun now. Cody, great team win. When Shane plays with hustle, he looks like he belongs. I'm sure we'll get into Shane in a little bit. I just want to try to get through some comments first. Jules, my family, and I with Shorzy, we're in the moving room, bundled up with blankets and cocoa to watch the game. That sounds awesome. I should have done that. I was like freezing. Let's see. Shutout dance party from Hunter. Let's go. Beef, let's go. My first live Kraken game, and I got to watch a defensive clinic. You did get a very good game there, Beef, I gotta say. That was a really good one to be at. Coop, Shane Wright absolutely did not look out of place in my eyes. A little tentative still maybe, but not out of place. And then Schultz, Shane Wright did look out of place on the third line. Yeah, so I guess we'll go ahead and talk about Wright as we're getting all these comments about him. I put out that tweet at the end of the first period, and I feel like what I said there really, stayed true through the whole game, which was that the things that stood out to me were how decisive he was on the forecheck, especially playing the puck along the boards and in the cycle game. Like the moment the puck was on his stick, he knew whether to send it forward or send it back to the point or what was going on. And that continued on to the power play because he did get some second unit power play minutes tonight. And I felt like that was like a big deal for me because I felt like that was missing from the earlier NHL action that we got to see from him. And then just the fact that, anytime a defenseman pinches up, he's right back to the blue line to take their spot and cover for them. He still plays in the defensive zone really well. I just think he needs to work on whether it's being aggressive or just overall confidence as far as really just attacking in the offensive zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he felt very much like he was playing kind of conservatively minded, made sure to cover for any defenseman pinching, which is great to do. I mean, that's the right instincts that you want to have, especially from a rookie. Again, kind of mature beyond his years in that way, on the ice. And so I liked that. You're right. It needs to have a little bit more of an attacking quality to him, but I think he just wanted to have everything go right, nothing go wrong, I guess, in this game. Like, I think he was, determined to have that be the case. One thing I noticed also is that he, if he ever had a chance to head off the ice and get off for, to make a line change at a good opportunity, if the team was cycling the puck in the offensive zone, he was going off early for line changes. And I noticed that was something he seemed, very committed to doing. But I think that's playing a little bit safe. But again, it's his first game in a little while. He had been a healthy scratch for 4 straight games. You kind of have to settle back in. And that's something that hopefully if he's playing in the next game, he's able to, kind of loosen it up a little bit.
Yeah, that was the only thing that kind of signaled to me that maybe he's thinking a little bit too much through this process. Is he's like trying to be consciously aware of how long he's out there. It's like, no, if you've got the gas, go back at, on the back check or whatever it is in that situation, like just go for it. It's okay. I understand not wanting to get caught out there, but I think that'll get worked on. It looked like Brandon Tanev was already telling him something about that during one of those in the first period. But he looked like he belonged, and he belonged in the faceoff dot 50% tonight. It's pretty good for a member of the Kraken.
How many did he take?
I don't know. It doesn't say,
because I noticed a lot of, especially the offensive zone draws. It was Gord just stepping in for those.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't
surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if that was one of 2.
It's possible, right? Because Gord's a left-handed shot is right lefty as well, or
he's right-handed.
He's right-handed because I think they were doing it based on which side of the ice it was.
Oh, okay, I was looking at left side face-offs. Yeah, that's true.
So that's what, and I think Forsland mentioned that. But I was gonna say Kraken, they won the face-off battle again. I think this is only game 2 all season that they've been above 50% at a whopping 51%.
Regression to the mean, right?
There we go. Nathan, what a ridiculous first goal by Wenny Lowell. Second was real nice from Borgatron. Those were both really good goals from Wenberg. That first one, I made the crack. Only Wenberg could figure out how to score without shooting the puck. But it was, I did like that, like during the intermission report, he basically admitted, like, I was trying to headbutt it. Like,
I love that, because watching the video, I knew he was trying to headbutt.
Yeah, totally.
It's perfect soccer technique, right?
Yeah.
He gets the head up and he does a little flick to the side. That's exactly what you want to do in soccer if the ball's up in the air. And Wenberg's got some serious soccer skills. Let me tell you, I've seen him in that, kicking the soccer ball around circle. And we see it also as far as him kicking the puck or, making passes with his skates. He's really into soccer. So I knew he must've been trying that.
Yeah. And it's just fun and refreshing when they say that, because you have like on the broadcast, JT being like, no, he knows the rule. He's not trying to play it. He's just, getting himself in a good spot or whatever. And then first thing out of his mouth is, I was trying to headbutt it to the left.
Yep. No, and I'm so glad Piper asked, like, did you mean to do that? What happened there?
Yeah. All right. So jumping around because so many comments again tonight. Medeiros, Matty B was unreal. His back checking was insane. That's really where I felt like that this first line made their mark. This was the game of all the games that I would say to go back and watch when we talk about how that first line has really just been driving possession, because you have Matty back checking super hard, playing all the way down behind their own goal line, right? It's sometimes at certain points to dig pucks out of the defensive zone corner and just get them out. And then I felt like this game more than any, I noticed Jaden Schwartz, and it was because of his relentless effort. This guy was just, I mean, talk about, getting on your horse. Like the guy was just skating back and forth cross zone wherever the puck was, trying to make sure he was slowly, like he was like a cattle dog or something, funneling the Wild back towards their own zone. It was absolutely fantastic.
So fun to watch. And then back to Matty Beniers too. I was thinking this during the game. I'm like, hey Dylan, if you're not doing anything tomorrow, which I know that's not the case, but you could just create this 2-minute long Matty Beniers back checking compilation just from footage from tonight, from this game. And we could just, re-up it every time anyone's question for the East Coast is questioning his Calder Trophy candidacy. But yeah, I mean, he just put on a clinic tonight.
Yeah, he did for sure. Coop, I think Winnie's the first multi-goal scorer in a single game for the Kraken this year. Is that true?
It doesn't sound right, but
I
can't think of any others off the top of my head.
I was gonna say, because everything has been like everybody's scoring. It's not like any one particular person has like the most goals. But no, didn't McCann have 2 goals one game, like his first one back after the full face shield?
I think,
or did he just go like and score like a bunch in a row? I don't know. Look that up. I'll move on.
I'm looking it up. You hold this down.
Brian, 13:45 time on ice for Wright tonight. That's more than Donato, Geeky, or Sprong. Shane's best performance yet. More to go, but it's coming, folks. Yeah, they stuck true this time to him being the third line center, and this is partly why I wanted him to be on the third line and not the fourth line way back at the draft, was because the fourth line, if ever a line is going to get skipped over based on stoppages and all that stuff, and you feel like your top 3 lines all have had chances to breathe and get back out there, you will of course choose to send them back out there. And that's one of the real reasons why there's such a drop off in time on ice for fourth liners compared to third liners. And so I was really, really happy to see that Dave Haxtell kept Shane on the third line, and he was out there for all of those shifts. I think only one shift did I not notice him out there, and I was just happy to see that, given everything that we've seen in the past.
Yeah, the only one I noticed was right after the power play where he had just been on the ice.
Yeah. Did you get an answer there?
Yeah, no, actually, Coop is correct.
Awesome. Well, it's good.
Not that I ever doubted it. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Duthan with the super chat. Thank you so much. 3 cheers for Martin Jones, baby's first shutout. He has looked spectacular. Thank you, Duthan. Yes, he's looked a different man since having that kid, man.
They say it changes you.
It really does. Fatherhood agrees with him. I think that's the one takeaway we can all have. Ty, Shane, dude, put your stick on the ice. Puck's just zinging by him, lol. Send him down to squirts. You learn that the same time you learn head up, lol. That is the one thing you can say about Shane Wright a little bit, is there's a lot of that kind of, stick up at his waist, kind of in that like loose, loading screen animation setup.
Yeah, no, I will say that is true. Something he can work on.
Yeah. Nathan, Maddie not showing up on the score sheet, but he was all over the place tonight on both ends of the ice. He's just so good. We're so lucky to have him. We are. I mean, that's the kind of player that could you imagine him in a playoff series, RJ? Like,
he would go to work.
You totally would. He would talk about MVP trophy winning stuff right there. Maybe one day Bergeron will retire and he'll have a chance at a Selke.
That's what it would take.
Yeah. Stratic, the defense didn't need to be bailed out tonight by goaltending or scoring this time, though full credit to Jones and the forwards for dominating anyway. I think that's a pretty appropriate takeaway in this one.
Yeah, the D made it very manageable on Jones and kept things to the outside. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot in terms of high danger chances. I didn't see what the final total was for expected goals for Minnesota, but I remember it was not 1.94. But still, it felt like it was a volume thing, just a lot of, little opportunities there. Nothing all that dangerous.
Yeah, our first chat reminder for everybody to like the stream.
There we go.
So other hockey fans can find it. And, next game, Saturday night against Pittsburgh, 4:00 game. It's a nice one to go out to a place like, I don't know, Queen Anne Beer Hall. Mm-hmm. Watch the game Saturday night out. Like it could be a fun time. Just saying.
Oh yeah.
Coop putting out all the face-off stats. So Matty was 58%, Wenberg was 54%, Yanni 44, Shane 50, and Geeky 44. So Geeky's gotten a lot better, and I think that's all has to do with just the consistency of being in the lineup.
Yeah, it does wonders for you. It really does.
Yeah. Josh Spronger showing he's more than just a strong shot tonight. Good passes, active, made contributions outside his skill set. I do feel like Sprong has matured a lot more. I think I said this a couple post-game lives back, but yes, he put in the work this offseason. He realized like, no, this is what it's going to take if I want to stay in the NHL. And he put in that work, and good for him.
And it's good to see that this is a place where players do that. We saw it
Mhm.
with Ryan Donato last season. We're seeing it with Daniel Sprong this year. Feels like it's somebody every season where it's their last chance in the NHL, it feels like. And they
Yeah.
put in the work and they deserve to stay in the lineup.
Exactly. Gabe, thank you, Steve Briere. That's a good one. Should all
Yes.
get a card going around. We'll pass it around chat. Everyone can sign
I've
it.
been raving about Steve Briere
You
since the
have
start of
been.
training camp. He is awesome. The goalies are having so much fun.
Right.
And
Back at
yeah,
it wasn't even just the start of training camp, back all the way back at dev camp when Gru came back into town after they hired him and started working with him. You were talking about it.
yeah. So great job by Briere.
Yeah. Coop, a couple of juicy rebounds by Jones, but he made the saves afterwards. So give him credit. I will say this because we talked about the big rebounds with Decord last game, because Decord, that's a problem with him.
Yeah.
Martin Jones, I will say, when he gives up a rebound, he at least he always stays square to that rebound. So like if someone's gonna put home that rebound, they're gonna have to really do something special with it. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's predictable, and in the Yanni Gord sense of predictable, where he loves to play with predictable
Yeah.
players, it allows the defense to kind of know where they're going, know what they need to do, and it's just part of that overall communication and building that rapport between the defense and the goaltender.
Yeah, and then we'll shoot down here for super chat from Maderos. Cutting into my donut budget with seemingly everyone in the lineup buzzing. Where do you think this leaves us when folks get healthy? So first off, thanks for the super chat, Maderos. I mean, should we start in net, right? Because I think
Yeah,
Grubauer will just come back in, and I think we'll probably see a 50-50 split at this point.
I could see that. Just again, given we don't know, okay, we don't know it's a groin injury, but man, it sure looked like a groin injury. Given the potentially sensitive nature of that injury, you don't want to work him too hard. You want to ease him back in. And with Martin
Yeah,
Jones playing like this, why would you ever force Grubauer into the net?
right.
When Jones can do really well. So I think in goal, that's what will happen.
Yeah, and then the other one's going to be Donskoy, and that one,
I just don't know
it's
where.
tough. I guess right now I would say Kuhlman seems like odd man out just because they're not playing him.
Right. I could see that being the case. I even so, because then you're going to have just an odd man out on the roster itself. And so you might
Right.
need to send someone down. And I mean, maybe that's Kuhlman, but I just don't know how Donskoy actually gets into this lineup if they keep playing like this. I think it'll take either another injury or just someone having a particularly bad game, just taking 3 penalties or something. And you want to send a message for the next game and you put Donskoy in, but it's going to be really tough. This is a tough lineup to crack.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just thought that, if you're not going to play Kuhlman tonight in front of his hometown, so to speak, right? Like,
Yeah, but
that said a lot to me.
they've shown they're not worried about that stuff. Hackstall's just who's going to get us the win. I don't care. If the grandparents aren't going to do it, then the hometown's not going to do it. Stratic saying Medeiros is making him want donuts. I know that sounds really good right now too.
Yeah,
Medeiros, why'd you do this?
I've got a Dunkin' like 2 blocks away. I could make that happen for me anyway.
All right, we know what you're doing after this.
Yeah, exactly. Got the Coco mentioned earlier. It's all good. One thing I want to mention before we go back to comments: Kraken 1 for 2 on the power play, because the back goal was a power play goal, and the PK again, another perfect night for the PK. I gotta think that's been like we are getting out of the basement there.
Yes, and that's huge. Just being able to string those together on the PK, having those perfect nights, it builds confidence.
For sure. Super chat coming in from Beef. First live Kraken game and a Jones shutout. Let's go. So happy you're celebrating here with us on the post game live, Beef. So happy you got to be there for that game, and thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Beef. Glad you got to see that one in person, and also saw you on the Discord earlier today.
Yep.
So thanks for joining the Discord and filling us in with your stories from the game. Really appreciate it.
For sure. All right, so got Sergeant Pickles studs and duds here. Got for studs, Geek Squad straight balling right now. Winnie twerking for cash money. Jones cosplaying defending China from the Mongols. We got a real wall there. And then duds, hopefully Avatar Kaner gets that magic tree healing. Still don't know what a wild is. And state of hockey half empty 10 minutes into the third.
Ooh.
Ooh, you going tough there at the end, Sergeant Pickles. I like it though. Yeah, I mean, first off, what was the situation with McCann?
Okay, so with McCann, because I remember I didn't get to watch the full game last game. Unfortunately, I
Yes.
missed an amazing one. But I guess he got banged up in that one. All I know about it, Jeff Baker did say that he was kind of limping around in the locker room a little bit, so he thinks it's a leg or a foot type of thing. But wasn't too bad, I guess, since he was, maybe a game time decision or a close option for this one. Ultimately, they decided to give him the rest day, but I don't think it's too severe.
Yeah, that's not the sense I got either, because I don't remember anything like from the game that like stood out like, oh, he might have gotten banged up there or anything.
Yeah, like
So
again, I defer to you on that one since you actually
yeah,
watched it.
yeah. And then I mean, it's hard to go away from any of those. I mean, Jamie Alexiak, throw him in there as a stud, going to the net like that, the way he
Yes.
did, getting a third goal of the season. Like, I mean, he's gonna shatter his career high at this point if he hasn't already. I know he only got 2 last year.
Yeah.
And then I want to shout out Will Borgen for the
Yes.
shot that was so tippable, right? Like that is the perfect setup. You walk towards the slot from your situation over there on the right side. So already you're giving yourself a better look for your shot. And then for him to keep his head up, see Wenberg's got body position in front. Not only is he screening, but he's in a really good spot
He's
to
got
make something
perfect body
happen.
position.
Yeah. That defender like did nothing. I don't know. Like that guy's going to get completely screamed at later by his coaching staff. But so for Will Borgen to keep his head up, recognize that, and keep that shot on the ice, but get as much velocity on it as possible. So Wenberg just has to create a ramp with his stick blade. Love to see it.
Yeah, Borgen was feeling it tonight. There were a few times also where I loved his body position, especially getting in the inside on Kaprizov.
Yeah.
Really frustrated him.
Yep. Dylan JBC Omega, shut him down, shut him out. That's Kraken hockey. That is definitely turning into Kraken hockey. Who would have thunk it, right?
I know, but hey, love to see it.
All right, got another super chat here. I gotta scroll down here from Sean. Pup treats for the third member of ECH. Wire to wire, baby. Studs, Wenny, Jonesy, Maddie. Oh, well, thank you. Unfortunately, she's not here right now. She's eating dinner. But I'll see if I can get Dog Squay in here a little bit later. But yeah, it's 60-minute effort, right? We're seeing that again from this team. I know Tammy had a comment about 60 minutes and 200 feet, right? Like that's just becoming what the Kraken are doing now.
Yeah, and more consistently too, which is great to see because we knew they were capable of it. But putting it together for a whole game, it's amazing what they can accomplish. And thank you, Sean, for the treats for Afra. I got to see her last night, so I know she'll be very thrilled with that.
Yes, she will. Kraken Hawk, great discussion about Shane Wright on your latest podcast. It's a tough situation that's hard to solve, but his increased ice time tonight should alleviate some tensions among all parties. And I do think this will, right? Because he got in, he played the amount of time everybody's been wanting him to play, and he looked like, an 18-year-old rookie, but not like a, wow, this is, just a bad team trying to do this to, get butts in seats kind of situation. Like this was no, he can actually contribute. And you can see the pieces there that as he plays more regularly, as he builds confidence, this player is going to be, someone that they can start to lean on.
Exactly. And as I was watching him too, because it wasn't just enough to get that ice time, I think he had to show something because as competitive as this roster is, we know that he's not just going to get in the lineup for the sake of getting in the lineup. And I was pleased with what I saw. So I think this should help him not just tonight and for his confidence, but going forward, trying to earn that spot more often. And they know, hey, look, we have a configuration where we can put him on the third line and have one of our most, if not the most effective game of the season.
Right. I just had one and I clicked away. Sorry, let me scroll up. Yeah, Lindsay, can we talk about Matty 200-foot center Beniers back checking to stop multiple breakaways tonight? I really think I think you hit it, perfectly, RJ, when you said that's the stuff that we need to like have as the narrative when pushing for him for Calder, because I think it's, he doesn't have a ton of competition as far as, accumulating points. So I think he's going to be in the conversation just because he probably should have the most points amongst rookies, assuming he stays healthy, all that stuff, knock on wood. But I think that's the kind of thing that would put him over the edge of an Owen Power, who, as we've talked about before, He's playing in the state of New York. He's on the East Coast. He's the first overall pick. He's just someone that they've already been talking about a bunch. Before the season even starts, they're talking about him being a favorite, and Matty Beniers has to deal with that West Coast bias. So I think you're right there with this 200-foot game thing.
Yeah, and given Owen Power's position, they're just going to throw points out the window.
Exactly. And there's nothing those old school East Coast bias type of people like to hear more than 200-foot game, back checking, all that kind of stuff, right? Like that's
music to their ears.
Totally. Sandpipes, I know a lot of Wright not playing is due to geeky, but how much of Shane Wright not playing was due to learning how to scout the opposition? So that's something we haven't really talked about, is the idea of, we've talked about it a little bit with the Kraken, kind of having game plans for certain teams and getting into certain positions. One of the things I had mentioned, whether it was last post game or the previous one, was if you were going to play them on this road trip, maybe the Penguins would be a better situation just because their bottom six is not good. And with a team like Minnesota, they have a lot of heavy hitters and they can be pretty physical. So you don't want him to get thrown around too much. He did take one big shot in this one. But Minnesota, a lot of those guys are actually injured, which I didn't know at the time of saying that. A lot of them were not in the lineup tonight for them. And I think that helped. But I don't know that on an individual player level, especially for someone in Shane Wright's position where you're just trying to focus on doing your job specifically game to game just so you can get in the lineup, I don't know that there's that much really scouting of the opposition or pro scouting going into it.
Yeah, I agreed. And I think if you ask Dave Haxtell, certainly he'd say, just look, we're focused on not just our own game, but especially for a player like him, just getting his own individual game right.
Super chat here from Brian. Being a tough team to play against is easy to say. Boy, howdy, is it more fun to see. Relentless forecheck and backcheck. The Wild were demoralized. I very much think they were. Like I said, they were flat. They tried to put on a little bit there at the end. They didn't want to get shut out, and good on them for I guess trying to do that. But like we've said, just they never looked threatening.
No, they didn't. And even when they try and put on a small push, the Kraken would just beat them to loose pucks, get clean zone exits, and it just frustrated the Wild. They couldn't get any second, third opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. Sergio, can we just go to the playoffs right away? Does Kraken even need to continue playing? I know it would be nice. Dominating performance tonight on every level. Not sure we've seen a game like that. That's from Autumn. I don't know. I think that Penguins game, echoes of that Penguins game. Like obviously the Calgary game last game wasn't them dominating. They had to fight back and prove that they were a team that can come back and win a game. But this one reminded me a lot of that Penguins game.
Yeah, and it's great that we're saying that about the last two games that they've played. When we can look at, okay, maybe what's the other one that might be as dominant as this one? Oh yeah, it's the one right before it. It shows that there's a team trending upwards.
Yeah. Let's see. Wenberg continues to impress. His improvement this season has been key. That's from Striatic. He does look a lot better this year.
He does. And he's kind of doing more varied things, and I think that helps because of his line mates. He's able to go to more different areas of the ice because they're opening up space for him. A play like that where he's in front of the net making the tip on his second goal, that's not an area we'd necessarily see him in, I feel like, a lot last season. But you have guys like Bjorkstrand and Burakovsky who can go into those corners and free up some space, get that puck to Borgen and everything. And both of those goals, net front. And I know we see him normally like net front on the power play. And I guess one of those was on the power play, but still, he's kind of got a nose for that area, and he has the line mates to be able to convert when he goes there.
Exactly. And a couple here I want your thoughts on.
I like Duthan here. Maybe Wenberg doesn't need to shoot the puck.
Yeah,
apparently not.
Apparently not. That might be the key to his success, because really that second goal didn't shoot that either. Just stick on the ice, right, Ty? All right, so I got a couple things I want your thoughts on here, RJ. Sandpipes, Wright's orange twigs, pretty sweet.
It is. I like it, and it helps me find him too. It helps him stand out because there's only two guys on the team with the orange twig. It's Shane Wright. You know who the other one is, Dylan?
No.
It's Justin Schultz. But those two, it helps me find either of them because I know one's a forward, one's a defenseman. I don't get those two of them confused, but it really helps me find them on the ice. So I appreciate it just for that.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. And then we got Jules here. My brother, Sharks fan, says Jones is fighting to keep his spot since he was picked to be Drieger's backup. However, with Grouping injured, he's showing all his worth right now.
Yeah, it's a competitive spot. Basically, he was just kind of a rental, almost throwaway goalie when he was signed because you know that Drieger's coming back. But if he keeps playing like this, he's probably going to earn a backup spot. I mean, if he can keep this going for long enough, and he's really someone too he's on another 1-year deal, second 1-year deal in a row, just trying to resurrect his career.
Right.
And you know, if he has finally caught on to something and found something, maybe fatherhood helping for some reason. But he's got a chance to go, and especially this offseason, and get another big contract, get a chance to maybe even, be in a tandem for another team and earn a starting job.
I was going to say, there's always a handful of teams that need a starter every offseason, and he's really kind of setting himself up to be one of those names in those conversations, and that's pretty cool to see. And then the other one is, because this is something that really kind of broke just a little bit right before the game started, and that's the idea of, I think it was Darren Dreger who talked about it, with the idea of Shane Wright. Like, there is a way for Shane Wright to play for the Firebirds, and so I just thought maybe you could talk through that situation real quick, and then yes, we can get to.
So yeah, I was saying while I talk through it, yeah, I see chat definitely wants to see Dog's boy.
She's here.
But yeah, I think it is worth mentioning because Darren Dreger did report that there is there is an exception in that NHL CHL agreement that they have for 18 and 19-year-old players. And we kind of talked about the situation before where the only options for Shane Wright are the NHL or the OHL within that agreement. They can't send him to the AHL. But Dreger reporting, actually, they can temporarily. Apparently, if a player is a healthy scratch for 5 consecutive games, they become eligible to be loaned to the AHL one time for a maximum of 14 days. So that's an option that today I learned is open to the Kraken. I don't think anybody, I mean, you didn't know about this, Dylan. None of the hockey people I talked to knew about this.
Nobody seemed to know about it.
Yeah. So good digging by Darren Dreger there. But yeah, it sounds like that is an option for them. Certainly given the fact that tonight's game went the way it did, I don't see it being an option that they're going to take. But it's something good to know, I guess, about the rules and how that works.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up because lots of discussion on Twitter and the Discord, once that news came out, because it's something that so many people have talked about. And I just think that because of how limited a time frame that is, right? 14 days. You're talking, like, if you pick the most crowded part of a schedule, maybe 8 games you could get him into. And that, like, I don't know. I don't know what the benefit of that would be. I don't know that it totally helps you. Maybe if Donskoy comes back and you're just trying to figure out like how to make it all work roster wise, you send him down for 2 weeks and hope someone gets injured. Like, I'm trying to think of the scenario in which this becomes like a practical situation for the Kraken. The other thing he mentioned, though, was that the Kraken are open to lending him to Team Canada for the World Juniors. This is something I always felt was probably going to happen unless he was really like an every game player and contributing at the NHL level. But it's something that we see, a lot of guys in this situation go and do.
Yeah, I agree. And I could see that still happening. Honestly, I think it might be good for him. Dylan, we got a bot, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone. Thank you, chat, letting us know. Sorry about that. But I could see him playing in the World Juniors. I think it'd be a nice boost to his confidence and the chance to play with some really good players. I mean, that would be a pretty stacked Team Canada, as it always is, really. But it'd be a very good team. And it's something that, it's a decision the Kraken can make when they come to it. We'll see where he's at in December.
Yeah, so hopefully that helps you out, Team Spindles. I see you were asking about that there. Brian letting us know, right, that 50% in the faceoff dot, that was 2 of 4. So
okay, 2 of 4, better than I thought.
4 faceoffs not that bad. That's not nothing. All right, so here real quick, because everybody was talking about her, got the super chat.
Yes.
Let me say hi. And
she's wearing
this awesome Kraken bandana that your mom made for her. So
thanks,
shout out
Mom.
to your mom, big time.
And we're looking into making some more. So if you have dogs, we might give them away at an event at the beer hall in the future. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. Your dog could have one of those maybe.
Yep. You too can get your dog all dog-scoyed afide.
Who wouldn't want that?
Yes. All right, let's see where we're going next. I had one, but the bot pulled me so far away from it. Let me see. Okay, so it was from CR Bud. Well, I think the difference between Geeky last year and now is that aggressive offensive attitude. Geeky does seem a lot more aggressive. He certainly seems a lot more confident.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that too is finishing. We talked about his crazy high shooting percentage, but that's something that when Geeky was picked in the expansion draft, we thought he'd be able to do because he has a really good shot. And we saw it early last season when he was confident. I mean, think about the first game in franchise history, that shot to beat Robin Lehner and tie the game against Vegas. That was a little glimpse of what he can do when he's streaking in, down the side, on the rush along the wing. He is capable of just beating a goalie clean like that. And we've seen it really the last kind of 3 games. I remember watching the goal from the last game on the highlight package. It was that kind of goal from that spot. And so when he's utilizing that shot that he has, he can be a very dangerous player. And if he can just keep that finishing, maybe not at the rate it's at now, because that's not exactly sustainable. But if he can continue to use that shot, I think he's going to do well. It's just something also at the end of last season when his confidence was so low, you just didn't even really see him attempting it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it just shows what a difference it all makes. And I also have here, just because Sean, the treats. Here we go.
There you go.
There you go. You saw it went in. That's what's important. Let's see. Brian, best way to protect a 3-0 lead? Make it 4-0. Sensational offensive zone possession and relentless forechecking. When they'd finally get into our defensive zone, Maddie would back check it away. This is something we talked about in the last game, RJ, is the 3-goal lead becoming the new 2-goal lead as far as being the most dangerous lead in hockey, just because offense has been picking up around this league, and obviously the Kraken able to come back from one last game certainly helped.
Yeah, definitely. And it's with all the offense too, you know that no lead is safe. You have to keep your foot on the gas more than ever, really, since maybe the 80s. You have to keep your foot on the gas. And Sean also saying, thank you for proof of treats.
There you go. Star Gray, so glad to be attending this live for once. Thank you for being here. Happy you can make it live for once. Alex, finally, Hack does what I've been asking for and put Shane out there with another center and on second power play. Yeah, so we talked earlier today, right, about like if Wright was going to play and then where he would be, and I was like, I don't see them bumping Yanni to wing right after Yanni just got his first goal, and these last like 2 or 3 games for Yanni, he's looked like himself again. But it was the right call. Here we go, Hackstall again. He's making the right call, whether or not we think it is or not.
He's starting to look like a genius more than every other game. Are we ready to handle this?
Well, I am. I know
that's
you
true.
And I kind of been the only.
You wanted to name our whole podcast episode a couple weeks ago in defense of Dave Hackstall. So you've been ready for this, and of course Dylan getting proven right again. But yeah, I think it'll be an interesting adjustment for the whole fan base and everything. But hey, we'll take it.
I know. When will I start predicting that I'm going to like win the lottery or something? These are the things I should be doing. Lindsay, do we know anything about? Okay, we talked about McCann's injury there. Sorry. Let's see. Super happy with the team tonight. We really kept offensive pressure strong, and defense laid their body on the line to protect Jones. They did such a solid job, and I'm really happy you mentioned that the 3 minute and 4 second shift that Larson and Dunn had to do. Now there was a couple icing stoppages in there, so they're kind of able to get their breath, but you could tell by the end of that they were so dead they couldn't clear anyone out of the crease. Jones had to just kind of sit there and take all those whacks trying to cover it because they were just so gassed.
Yeah, they really were. But I want to credit Vince Dunn especially. I think he was 2 minutes and 45 seconds into that shift, and a puck came bouncing in right along the goal line, and he reached over and got it and calmly cleared it away. That's the kind of play that you have to really dig to the very last bit of your energy to do. But if that puck goes in, it's a totally different game.
For sure. Yeah, no, it was a good effort by them, and a good effort by the guys around them too, because they were out there for a while too, the forwards and stuff. Like Maddie was sucking wind at one point. It really looked like during one of those icing stoppages. So it's just a tough situation. Glad the Kraken were able to survive it, because that's something last year probably wouldn't have seen from them. Let's see. Grizza Smash. I will admit it. I was a little sour on the Jones pickup, but he's been very good so far.
He has. You're looking at me like I was looking at you. Were wrong.
Hey, I think I skipped the one from Ty kind of calling you out about about seeing Jones in kind of vintage 2016 form a little bit. So I tried, RJ, but it's what chat wants.
Yeah, you know what? You got to give the chat what they want. Yeah, I was wrong. He's playing better than I thought he would. But I'm so happy to see it as someone, who watched him and cheered very hard for him in 2016 and those years with the Sharks. Very happy to see him turn things around and look this good again.
Yeah. No, it's really good to see, and I'm happy about it. Dylan JBC Omega, Saturday in Pittsburgh will be a challenge. Now, on its face, I want to be like, what are you talking about? We just destroyed them last Saturday. It's gonna be fine. But the fact that the Penguins have continued to lose, and like we talked about it on our Red Glare podcast, the Patreon exclusive podcast, link in the description below. We talked about it today to kick off the podcast, this Penguins losing streak, and how like it's the most solemn and somber I've ever seen Mike Sullivan. Like, this is not a guy who normally lets, like little things like a losing streak get to him, but like it looks like it's starting to get to everybody there. You talked about Brian Burke and kind of his attitude being around him at Climate Pledge. So I don't know. I think this is going to be a very, very motivated Pittsburgh Penguins team that we're going to have to go into Pittsburgh and play.
Yeah, at a certain point, that somber mood is going to all come out in the form of determination and energy. And the Kraken could be on the other end of that next game. So you never know when you're going to see it. We saw it against the Vancouver Canucks earlier this season. How powerful that can be when you just need to win a game. So nothing's going to come easy. But if the Kraken keep playing like this, it doesn't matter what the Penguins are going to do.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be a tough one. I definitely think it's going to be a tough one. Should be entertaining though. Definitely looking forward to it. Lindsay, how does Borgen toss around forwards like they're rag dolls? He makes it look so easy to shove them to the ice.
He did it again tonight. Did you see that?
I know. Someone good at physics explain. Well, I'd have to try to get my sister roped in to do that. But all I can say is like fundamentals that I try to teach like the young kids when we were coaching them when it comes to hitting and all that stuff is this is why it's important to always like bend your knees, right? So that you can get low. You can then use your full body. You're not too top heavy, especially on taller guys. That's a big problem. But that way you can, utilize your legs because it's like the strongest muscles you're going to have, right? You can activate your core. You can get all of that in. And so my guess is if you go back and you look through all those big hits Borgen's been laying out on people, that's what he's doing. Like it's a full body. You can almost sometimes, just like with a hitter in baseball, you can see the power just start in their legs, go through their hips, and then eventually reach their arms as they're rotating. It's the same thing. You can see that power and that explosion start from their legs and go up their body almost like ripples. It's kind of crazy. And it's just I know it's like an anime or something. But that's what it is. And I think he's just learned how to use his body, how to use his size. I'm sure that's something that last year when he was scratched all those games working out, trying to do, probably wanted to take some frustration out on whatever was around through some of those practices, right? You're not playing, go out there, hit some dummies or whatever. And I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I can see it. That's a lot of time in the weight room when you're scratched for the first 20 games of a season.
Yes. Just squats for days. You'll hit people harder. Trust me. So there, it's not quite physics. I brought anime into it instead. that's
on brand.
I was gonna say that's just the difference between me and my sister. For everybody, that's the difference. Ty, I had donuts this morning, all circles too. So clearly, Ty has to have donuts from now on every Kraken game day morning until they don't get a shutout.
Got to do it. All right, I think we had a super chat, Dylan.
Oh, did we? All right. So
looks like it to be from here. Jules.
All right. Well, feel free to read them. You're good.
Okay, yeah. Jules, thank you for the super chat. So yeah, you're right. I can do this. It seems on Twitter, other fans underestimate the Kraken. I love it when the team proves them wrong, that we're not a team to make fun of.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, we're starting to see it. We're starting to see it on Twitter. We're starting to see it even in these post-game lives, right? Fans of other franchises, whatever team we played that night, coming in and being like, "Hey, that was a good game. Like, you guys are a lot better than I remember you being last year." And it's really nice. But I do appreciate that all the teams I know. The Wild broadcast today, like their pregame show, very complimentary of how the Kraken were playing so far this season and how everybody's rolling in of Matty Beniers and how he should be a favorite for the Calder and all that kind of stuff. It's definitely a different feeling than last year, but a welcome one.
Yeah, you have to earn that respect around the league, and the Kraken, I think, for the first time ever, are really doing that, and it's so cool to see.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is it donut or donut? Like spelled like full out dough, RJ. Gabe's genuinely asking.
I what is it on the Krispy Kreme sign? Because they're my go-to donuts. I think it's
I
the
think it's
GH.
is it? Because I always just
Okay.
see like because we're from LA, right? In LA, every corner of every strip mall through all of LA has a donut shop, and they all are the do nut, like
Yeah, yeah,
spelling.
do not. Yeah. So Krispy Kreme has it with the GH donut.
Okay. Do you think they copyrighted that?
I wonder. I don't know. I do not know offhand. But anyway, can you? It's the name of the food. I guess with that spelling. I don't know.
If you created it, I don't know. Did they
All right.
create the
Absurdly
donut?
Sane says technically it's donut with the GH, but do not is now considered okay.
All right, there we go.
Both spellings are accepted. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for
I was gonna
helping us out
say
with this.
I trust chat there. Let's see. Rebecca feeling unstoppable today. Got the Wordle in one. Kraken got the shutout, and I already scarfed donuts, so I'm immune to the craving.
That's how you know it's going to be a good day. You get the Wordle in one, and you know nothing can go wrong for you the whole rest of the day.
I was gonna say, talk about 3 stars of the day for you right there. Like, come on. All right. Does it seem like we found lineups that'll stick? I don't know, because now with like injuries with McCann and stuff, they're kind of getting all over the place. But I mean, do you think as long as McCann's out, Wright's probably going to be that third C?
I would think so. They've shown they don't want to change things up after good games, and I think there's a template. I mean, you look at the top two lines, and those are unchanged for a while, and the fourth line is what it is. So I think you kind of got that general template, and you make little tweaks to it as necessary.
Yeah, I agree. Here's one to ask you, RJ.
Mhm.
Lindsay's pointing out, I guess Shane used black stick tape instead of white tonight. Any thought on him changing it up? Is this something that like has this change happened during like the games he's been scratched?
I don't know. I didn't notice that. Hang on. Now I'm going back to look at Shane Wright shifts from when he was last in the lineup. Give
Well,
me a second on
I'm
that
wondering
one.
from like when like the practices, like post practice, you know how you always say and
Oh
watch
yeah, I can
him.
find practice
Like,
photos of here.
yes,
Let's
see,
I'm gonna
check
go
that
look
out.
that up. Hold it down for a second while
Well,
I
while you do that, I'm gonna go ahead and read the thing that Harley put in here from the NHL. Congrats to Martin Jones, who recorded 26th Pepsi shutout of his career tonight, and first as a member of the Seattle Kraken. Just go ahead and get that corporate read in for the NHL. I know they could use the help. Um,
Okay, so in every day of practice that I'm seeing, and that's October 25th, 27th, 29th, all of these days he has the black stick tape.
okay, so that is a change that has been made then.
What was the last game that he played? Was it the St. Louis game? Must have been.
Yeah, it was 4 games back.
Okay.
So yeah, you take a look at that. I'm gonna read Medeiros' comment here. A silent hero tonight. The fan base has learned to stop jinxing the shutout. I thought about this because Root put it up as a graphic or whatever, talking about
Mhm.
shutouts and stuff with like 5 minutes left, and I was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You don't do that. No, no, no. This is like the worst time to put up a graphic. It's like acknowledging the no hitter when they're like in the 8th inning. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you don't do
I
that.
know.
We all just silently sit there and watch and don't say or do anything. But yes, I it did seem like on Twitter and stuff, it was a lot less than in years past
Yeah,
or
agreed. Also, I
year
like
past.
Alex's idea here. Just got to replace every sponsorship with Queen Anne Beer Hall. So it's the Queen Anne Beer Hall shutout.
Can
Everything that
definitely
they
do
have,
that.
just throw them in there.
Can definitely do that. Let's see. So the come from behind win versus Calgary has ushered in a new era for the Kraken. Nice to see. Just go easy on my Oilers. Never. My boy Billy Borix has just been so solid on both offense and defense. I hope we extend him forever for his new contract. Well, guess who that's from, RJ?
I think I could. I think I might be able to guess.
Well, yeah, that's all. A lot of it's going to be interesting to see how like this upcoming off season and stuff. It's going to be interesting how everything shakes out for this team. Alex, I've seen very little from Owen Power in the Buffalo games I've watched this year that screamed Calder candidate thus far. We talked about him and the other rookies again on the Red Glare podcast today. He's been okay, actually. He's getting better. He's kind of pretty solid on both ends. It's just not, like spectacular, mind-blowing. But he's eaten up lots of minutes for them. Ty, I did like the change up in defensive scheme, stuffing the blue line and getting active sticks. They broke up a ton of transition plays and were effective doing so on the PK as well. I like that you brought this up, Ty, because I do think that is a game plan specific for this Minnesota Wild team, because they are a team that, yes, we talk about how physical they are and how much size they have, but they're also a very skilled team, particularly that top line. When you got, obviously Kaprizov, everybody knows, but guys like Eriksson Ek, right? Like you have to be, they're susceptible to being kind of attacked aggressively like that, where you're going to use your stick. They're big, they're strong. They practice all the time going toe to toe with their own 6'5" players. They're used to that. And because that's how most teams play everybody in this league. Right. And so I do think that you throw off a team like this when they're so ready to body up and protect the puck and all that, when instead you just kind of hold your ground and just like stick your stick out there at them and not let them like make the move they want to make, that kind of power move.
Yeah, exactly. You want to try and move to the inside? Okay, try. We'll have guys in your way. We're not going to, force the issue and then have you walk around us. And the Wild just didn't seem to have much of an answer for it.
No, they it's kind of odd actually that they never like did things up.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I just got to all the dog stuff here.
It shows how active chat's been. That's awesome, though. I know chat is just blowing up again tonight.
I know, been over 100 for a very, very long time now. Shoeshine coming in late, but man, what a game! Maddie's best game, even though he didn't get a point. Shane looked great as well. His puck flipping near the end of the game was really nice. What did you think of Hackstall making sure that Shane Wright's line was out there when the final buzzer went off?
I know he got him out there for another 12 seconds.
Yeah,
I don't like it, and here's why. Because I had already
had the RJ, that was the softball. Come on.
I know I messed up because I had the tweet ready to go with his ice time and this big step forward for Shane Wright and everything. I'm like, this tweet's gonna do numbers, and then I check it. It's like 5 minutes after the game, and they've added another 12 seconds or whatever of ice time. I'm like, oh, of course, I got to do a little correction tweet. Okay, fine. I like it. I like it, except for very selfish reasons.
I was just gonna say, so you don't like it for selfish reasons. That's different. Joey, Shane had a good shot chance, but he whiffed. Okay, so that goes way back to what his first was that his first shift or the second shift, I think, for Shane Wright. Yes, he had been playing really well. He was being decisive. He was making sure the cycle game was good. He was distributing front and back. It was all solid. And then he loads up for one and he picks his head up to see where he's going to shoot it, and just it rolled off his stick.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, but hey, he bounced back, but didn't let it get to him.
Yep, hate to see it. Brian with the super chat here, another first. For the first time in ECH history, there are over 100 people in chat for the third game in a row. Don't fact check me, just roll with it. I don't think we need to. I think that is probably a first.
Yeah, no, it is. I can fact check you right there. It is. And I mean, I just thanks everyone for coming to this, whether you're a regular and have been with us since last season, or whether you're brand new, this is your first one. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, you guys make this what it is. And yeah, I think every single win this season, we've set a new record for the most viewers.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going up and going up and going up and topping itself. So let's keep that rolling.
Yeah. Is that the first time they've ever had a positive goal differential from Shoeshine? Assuming talking about the Kraken, no, because we've had a positive goal differential for our last couple games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So since the Penguins game, I believe has been the mark for us, but maybe it started with the Buffalo game. Now that I think about it, because wasn't that like
the Buffalo game
4-1 or something, and then you lose to Vancouver by 1. And then
so it must
2 goals against Pittsburgh and stuff, or they were like +3 coming into this one. So maybe it wasn't going back that far. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. All right. This is the one I wanted to, maybe end on. I don't know. We still got time. Last year, the lowest points percentage to make the playoffs was .591. So that's the target to exceed. In the East last season, the lowest seed had a 610. So that's really what you want to shoot for. I think, again, this year, the East, it's probably going to be higher. Based on how things are trending, it'll probably be significantly higher. But yes, I would say 600 is probably where you always want to be to try to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's usually about what the line is. Yeah, 600.
Right. And the Kraken, of course, right now are sitting at 583. So
very close.
It's very, very close. But hey, we all talked about this before the season started. Just wanted to, you know what I mean? Like be in that hunt late, not be like you said, right? Out of it by Thanksgiving. Like as long as we didn't do that, things were trending in a positive direction.
Exactly. Just being in that race, and it certainly looks like the Kraken will be involved, going down the stretch, and that's all we could ask for this season.
Exactly. Brian here, definitely got to read this one. Shout out to Dylan.
Okay, well that's a way to get your comment read. If you ever want to make sure he finds it, start it with that.
Yeah. He was the first to get me to pay attention to Lars. Now I completely get it. When there's a press by the other team and it's getting frantic, as soon as he gets it, it's over. That's what I'm saying. He uses his stick, right? I did that video after the first game or two, the YouTube short about how he uses his stick, both to defend zone entries and then also once it's in the defensive zone. And as we're seeing more and more of the Kraken work that way, outside of Will Borgen, he's throwing the body around, but it's working. So keep doing that. But we're seeing that a lot more from all the other Kraken defenders this season than we did last year. And I'm really happy to see it because I do think that it's something that is underutilized. It's an underutilized skill set in the NHL because it's, guys just kind of get there being big and in the way or being by flashy offense. And then all of a sudden in the NHL, when you've got to defend against guys that could be bigger than you and all that other stuff that we were just talking about when it comes to Minnesota, they don't, it's just that extra tool in your tool chest. You're not pulling yourself out of position. You're not taking yourself out of a play by getting all tangled up in somebody as you've knocked them down or you're tied up along the boards. It's just one of those extra things that can kind of keep you always around and handy and keep your head up and keep you involved. And as a defender, that's what you're looking for. That's the efficiency that you want, is just your ability to always be available and to try to stop the other team. And so I'm happy to see it. I think he's probably been a reason why that we're seeing the other defenders on the Kraken use their sticks more. I got to think that's why that A is on his chest, maybe.
Yeah, we've heard this from other Kraken defensemen about the things they pick up from Larson. He is a leader, that's for sure, on the blue line.
I like this one. Alex, there is something to be said for stopping a team from coming back. The Kraken took it a step further by making them not want to come back. That's a good one. And certainly had that effect on the Minnesota fans tonight.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even by like 10 minutes in, their first shot on goal, and you get the Bronx cheer.
Yeah. And then, booing them at the end. And there was definitely empty seats second half of that third period. This is from Becca. Shane's better with two fast, tenacious guys like Turbo and Yanni. Love the heck out of Ryan Donato, but he tries too hard to protect Shane instead of forcing him to up his game. I like that take. There could be something there.
Yeah, agreed. I think, having players, like a Gord, like a Tanev, really forcing Wright to have to kind of up the ante there in playing those shifts and those tougher minutes and those bigger minutes. Yeah, I could see something there with that. And also just guys that are going to go into the corner without hesitation and win some of those battles that maybe Shane, just literally being 18 years old, isn't ready for, just because his body isn't developed that way yet.
Yeah. And it did draw him, like the only times he really went like kind of net front or to the slot, it was because both of them were engaged. He had, most of the time Tanev in the corner, winning it out to Yanni kind of behind the goal line, behind the Minnesota net. And then Shane Wright, reads that, recognizes it, and was finding soft spots in the defense. The defense really never paid attention to him. So he was kind of always getting open. There was just never a clean passing lane for Yanni to get him the puck. But those were the only times that you could kind of see Shane get into those like kind of goal scoring situations or positions on the ice. And so, yes, I think that's definitely something we should all be paying attention to as this goes on, Becca. And then on the flip side, I think Donato is perfect to be playing with Geeky and Sprong, because, Geeky and Sprong, they're good players. They're obviously scoring a lot right now, putting up points, but they're not exactly guys to go into the corners or kind of dig it out and be physical and win those board battles. But Ryan Donato is more than happy to go and do that for you if you let him.
Yeah, they just gel so perfectly. And then Sprong with his finesse plays to bring the puck into the zone. I mean, he made a great move on a wild defender earlier in this game. They all complement each other so well.
Yeah, Shoeshine, my only complaint about the game is nobody going after Dumba after he blew up Shane. What do you think about that? Because obviously the whole bench stood up and stuff, but in a way, I kind of liked it, right? Because like you weren't going to go and fight somebody and maybe give the other team momentum, maybe cost your goalie the shutout. You know what I mean? If you fire them up after that, because that's partly what Dumba's doing is he's a leader on that team and he's going out there and he's going to do the welcome to the NHL kid moment and try to get his team fired up just to not get blanked.
And I think that was the theme for the Kraken. I just look, we're not going to give you anything. You can try and provide whatever. We're just not going to give you anything. And I think there was that initial reaction of like, oh, look. And then when you see Shane get up and he's okay, then you're like, all right, we don't have to do anything here necessarily. But I don't think it's a lack of willingness to stand up for your rookie. I mean, you saw that in that St. Louis game. They were absolutely willing to jump in. And you had Donato who did it, and then Borgen saying, yeah, anybody on this team would have done that for him. So I'm okay with kind of trusting their instincts and their response on that.
Yeah, and Shoeshot coming in, you don't have to fight him, but at least knock him down.
Yep.
Get him down there. Let's see. There was another one just up here. Where was it? Let's see. I was glad that they didn't take stupid penalties after the Dumba hit. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, people agreeing in chat. Brian agreeing also. Clean, solid hit.
I know. And then as Ty's saying, it's only 8:30. Could go another 2 hours. Not ready for bed yet. I know, but we are here at the hour mark. So I do think we're gonna close this up. But it's just another solid night, another Kraken win. Team looks good. Get the shutout. Above the 50% on the faceoffs, man. That's the big thing.
I know. Finally,
all the things.
I said it's all coming together. It really is all coming together. And we saw that tonight. It's so great to see. I'm looking forward to the game on Saturday. Bring on Pittsburgh.
I know. And bring on a Pittsburgh team that's highly motivated. Like I want this as a test for the Kraken. You know what I mean? Like I'm not scared of it. I think even if, a highly motivated Sidney Crosby and Malkin beat us, I don't think we're going to have to take it in the same way that we would have taken it a couple weeks ago. Right. As far as like situationally and everything going on, we'll take it more like that Vancouver game where it's like, hey, if they beat us, they're probably only going to beat us by like 1 or 2. And it's not going to be like a beat down. And just the fact that we're not worried about that is like so awesome.
Yeah. We've come so far from last season.
Yes. But I petition, I bring it to the floor. I think in order for us to say that the Kraken played a complete game, they have to be above 50% in the face-off dot. Is that fair, everybody? Let me know before we go here.
Chat.
Let me know. Should that be our barometer for what a complete Kraken win is? Is them being above 50% face-off win percentage?
Tell Dylan if face-offs, how relevant are face-offs? Let Dylan know. Also, Scott, cheers from Ballard. Cheers, Scott. And cool watching from Ballard.
First thing in here, Alex. Of course, Alex. No, face-offs are not that key. All right. I'm going to remember that, Alex, next time, like, a defensive zone face-off loss becomes something. Some people say yes, some people say no. So I don't know that I got everything on this one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Face-offs are good, but not mandatory. Split. I don't know. Like, again, like I'm not saying like we wouldn't celebrate a win or anything, but like complete game. Strategic opponent under 28 shots equals a complete game. I know, but the Kraken are just so good at doing that.
Yeah, I feel like you up the standard. You need more.
Exactly. And all right, so last comment from CR Bud with the super chat here. Great job and thanks for this. Dying for more hockey talk, and my close peeps are still not into it yet. That is right. Just keep at it. And
they'll come around.
They will. And if you can, get them into a game, because that's always that thing, that like last straw that breaks the camel's back. It's always getting them in that game.
In person. Nothing sells hockey like that.
Yeah. Or take them skating or something. Just try to get them a little bit more involved, bridge that gap a little bit. That's how it all gets started. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us, for hanging with us. Yes, it is only 8:40, so everybody go out and do, at least West Coasters.
Yeah.
Have you can still have some fun tonight. Thanks for joining us, and then yes, on to Pittsburgh Saturday night. It's going to be a fun one. I like this as a test for this team.
Yeah, I do too. Bring it on.
It's a good one, and we're finally ready for it, and that's big deal. Big
Yep.
deal that we can go and play a motivated Pittsburgh team. Love to see it. All right, thanks everybody. One more time, shout out to Queen Anne Beer Hall again. Go check it out, everybody. Go watch the game there, maybe Saturday night, maybe, and say we sent you.
Yes, tell them we sent you.
That's the key. If you're ever going down there, make sure you say we sent you. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you all next time.